Battle through the firmament. Great world. Chapter 508. The source of flame. Sobbing for a moment, Kailin lifted her head from Xiaoyan's arms. Her eyes, which were as calm as water, were exceptionally sharp at this moment. Xiaoyan, I have never begged you for anything. This time, I beg you. You must bring Xiao Xiao back alive. Xiaoyan nodded silently. His lips were tightly pursed. He was her husband and also Xiao Xiao's father. Even if he had to give everything, he must find Xiao Xiao. Seeing Xiaoyan nod his head, Kailin could not help but bury her head into Xiaoyan's arms and cry. She knew that this man in front of her had never disappointed her. Back in the fighting Daoqi continent, it was still the same as before. Zuna's eyes were slightly red. As a mother, she understood Kailin's feelings. Thinking about it, Zuna could not help but hold Xiaoyan's arm tightly and quietly lean on the latter's shoulder, giving the embrace to Kailin. Heaven Pillar Peak. Xiaoyan gently landed at the foot of the mountain. He looked at the huge mountain in front of him. He didn't know how long it had been, or how many secrets it had been hiding. It was like a huge pillar that held up the sky and supported the wind and rain of this academy for countless years. Swoosh! Xiaoyan slowly stepped forward and took out a black scroll. It was given to him by Su Jiang before he left. The underground space of Yunlo Academy needed a special key to open it. Inside this black scroll, there was a special key. There was a key to the formation to remove the seal on the light screen. According to Su Jiang, Xiaoyan tore the scroll and placed it on the ground. On the scroll was an extremely complicated formation. Looking at it deeply, it seemed to be able to sink one's mind into it. Swish, swish, swish. Xiaoyan's 10 fingers flew. The origin key in his body surged and gradually gathered at the tip of his fingers, forming afterimages in the space. In a few breaths' time, the origin key at the tip of his finger was extremely dense. He suddenly pointed at the scroll on the ground. Immediately, the formation on it shone brightly, and a light screen that could be seen by the naked eye was formed. Crack, crack. The moment the light curtain appeared, the black scroll on the ground turned into a clear air and dissipated. The light curtain also shattered at this moment. A tunnel that led downwards suddenly appeared in front of Xiaoyan. Without the slightest hesitation, Xiaoyan directly walked in. Behind him, the entrance to the tunnel quietly disappeared. A mere ripple was emitted before it returned to normal. This wasn't his first time coming here. Under Su Jiang's lead, he had already witnessed this scene. After a long while, the endless darkness in front of him suddenly dissipated. What replaced it was a bright red light. When he stepped out of the cave, he saw a wide open space in front of him. Under his feet was a pitch-black square and the surrounding red rock walls were towering. After isolating everything, the surroundings of the square, the crimson-red lava surged violently, the sound lingering in the air. The hall not far away was still standing, and in a trance. It was as if Xiaoyan had returned to the 4 academies competition, and it was right here. He had advanced to the Monarch Emperor, and so much time had passed. Although his strength had only reached the 2nd Monarch Emperor, his true strength. The difference was like night and day. You're here. While Xiaoyan was lost in thought, an old and heavy voice sounded in the hall. At the same time, the door of the hall slowly opened, revealing the mystery behind it. Disciple Xiaoyan has come to pay a visit to the Great Elder. Xiaoyan bowed and said in a clear voice. His voice covered the sound of the surging magma. I know a thing or two about the 4 academies competition. You have thwarted Yav Mu's plan. You have done a good job. A heavy voice sounded, but it was mixed with some joy. Xiaoyan was slightly moved, but he didn't say anything. With the identity of the Great Elder, he believed that the heavens must have told him about Yav Mu's appearance. Great Elder is praising me too much. It was a coincidence that I was able to defeat Kang Feng. Xiaoyan cupped his hands and said in a low voice. How can there be any coincidences in this world? Everything is destined. However, although you have defeated Yav Mu's plan, you have also been affected by the Soul Demon. In the future, there will be endless troubles. At the same time, the Great Elder's figure appeared in the hall. In a flash, he had arrived in front of Xiaoyan. Karma. Xiaoyan mumbled to himself and straightened his body. He had long been mentally prepared for such an outcome. Now that he heard what the Great Elder said, he wasn't too surprised. No wonder. Your own strength is too weak. The more karma you have, the heavier the karma. If you reach the Supreme Saint realm, you won't even have a problem killing Yavmu, let alone defeating Yavmu's plan. The Great Elder looked older than before, but the smile on his face was even friendlier. He patted Xiaoyan's shoulder gently and said with a smile. Xiaoyan smiled but didn't say anything. Regarding this kind of karma, he had no idea what was going on. Only experts at the level of Great Elder would be involved in this. This is the origin of the flame spirit. I've refined it with the crystal key that the heavens have rewarded me. Even if it can't reach the peak grade, it's still considered top grade. As for how much it can be refined, it will depend on your ability. The first elder waved his withered hand and a cluster of pink fire source appeared in his hand. The moment it appeared, the fire source key in this area immediately became wild and violent. The surging lava seemed to have been stimulated as it roared intensely. The temperature of the entire space soared. There were even traces of melting on the surrounding rock walls. Xiaoyan carefully received the pink fire source. It was like a flame, like an origin key. It seemed to possess an unknown force that caused one's heart to tremble. Just by holding it in his hand, one could feel the origin key within his body crazily roaring. Let's go into the magma, just like last time. The Great Elder gently turned around and appeared on the stone bridge like a gentle breeze. He pointed at the surging magma below and looked at Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan unleashed the Starlight Silent Step and arrived next to the Great Elder almost instantly. He looked at the magma below and raised his eyebrows. Under the influence of the source of flame spirit, the magma was like a violent giant beast. It roared wildly and collided with the surrounding rock walls, causing the rock walls to turn into molten iron that flowed down. Its power was comparable to an ordinary mnemonic spell. Qi. The first elder glanced at Xiaoyan in an indifferent manner. He was also slightly stunned by the speed that the latter had displayed earlier. Immediately, he laughed softly. He waved his hand and a jade-green lotus flower appeared on the magma below. Cultivate properly. How much you can obtain will depend on your luck. First elder waved his sleeve and directly entered the large hall. The large door also slowly shut. Xiaoyan was the only one left in this huge square. Sit on the lotus. The corner of Xiaoyan's mouth twitched. He could see that the lotus didn't have any reinforcement from the origin key. It was just an ordinary lotus. Although it, strangely, didn't turn into ashes on the magma, if one sat on it, if one's mind was unstable, it would shatter. Taking a deep breath, Xiaoyan did not hesitate. He tapped the ground with the tip of his foot and sat cross-legged on the lotus flower. The moment he sat on it, the lotus violently sank down. It was only a short distance away from the magma. Boom, boom. The roar of the magma was like a furious thunder that poured into his ears. The high temperature caused sweat to flow down Xiaoyan's forehead. In a place like this, if he accidentally fell into the magma, even if he was able to come out alive, he would probably lose a layer of skin. After stabilizing his mind, Xiaoyan looked at the pink fire source in his hand. An excited light instantly surged into his eyes. Next, it was time for his strength to soar. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.